Hello class, so today we're going to look at steroidal and non-steroidal hormones. So hormones are one of those messages that your endocrine system produces that goes throughout your body and basically tells your cells to turn things on or turn things off, stuff like that. So we're going to take a look at the differences between the two because they're pretty different types of things. So when you think of steroids, you probably think of, maybe this guy right here who's super jacked, loading his body with steroids, but steroids is something that your body uses naturally every day. So just maybe try and not think about this guy for the lecture when looking at steroidal hormones. So non-steroidal hormones, so they are protein based, so they are water soluble and they can't pass through cell membranes. So that bilayer that your cells have, let's see, this? It's not a very good drawing, but this is what stops water-soluble things from getting into your cell. It allows your cells to maintain a certain gradient, so like a salt gradient or a water gradient, stuff like that. So it can't pass through the cell membrane, and they bind to receptors on the surface of your cells. So like there's these little proteins that are hanging out on the outside of your cells, and that's where they bind. So it requires a secondary messenger inside the target cell, and then this is what ultimately triggers your cell to make the changes to your cell. Some examples of non-steroidal hormones are insulin and epinephrine. So insulin, remember, that is produced in your pancreas, and that helps regulate some of your metabolism. And then epinephrine, that is one of your fight or flight hormones. So that comes from your adrenal gland. So that's right on top of your kidney. So right now we're going to do a quick drawing of a cell. Kind of show you how they enter. So this is your cell. Cell nucleus. And then that green line, that is your cell membrane. This is your surface protein. And remember, that is on the outside of the cell, and that is because the hormone cannot pass through this membrane. So then you have your hormone. So this is your non-steroidal hormone. And remember, this is the lock and key type fit. So this binds with the receptor on the cell and forms a complex. And then what happens is that then there's something else. So this acts as the first messenger. There's a second messenger on the inside of the cell. And maybe this binds to here. And then this ultimately triggers there to have enzyme activity or something else in the cell. Basically tells your cell what to do. So like if it was adrenaline, it would be shutting off, some of your reflexes, or not your reflexes, some of your regular cell functions, so like metabolism, and then that would go into stuff like maybe your muscle cells to help get you more focused or produce that superhuman strength. Remember, it binds on the outside of the cell, and then there's a secondary messenger, and then that could be like calcium or a fatty acid or this thing called CAMP, CAMP, cyclic something. I don't remember what it's called, but that's a non-steroidal hormone. So we got steroidal hormones. So these are lipids or lipid soluble. So then these can pass through that cell membrane because they are non-polar. So they easily pass through cell membranes, and then they bind to receptors inside the cell, not on the cell membrane. And they affect DNA directly. Some of the examples are estrogen and testosterone. And then there's some other ones I think that are produced by the adrenal cortex or in the adrenal glands. And this is the basic structure of a steroid. This is kind of like the backbone that all steroids have. These are all little carbons on here, and then there's some hydrogens shown. And when you take chemistry, you'll kind of get an idea of that too. It's shorthand. Alright, so let's go around another cell. There we go. And we have your nucleus. It's going to take a little bit of artwork. Sorry, I'm not an art teacher, that's for sure. Shade it in. So, you have your steroid hormone, and it's going to pass right through that membrane because it is lipid soluble. And it's going to bind with this co-receptor, and then this co-receptor, it can be found in the cytoplasm in the regular cell, and sometimes it's also found in the nucleus right over here. So what's going to happen is this is going to go down here, and it's going to come in contact with some DNA. And then this is going to shut down a protein, or it's going to upregulate something, or it's going to affect the DNA directly. So your non-steroidal hormone, it does not affect the DNA, whereas a steroidal hormone does. So this allows a steroid hormone to do a little bit more drastic changes to the cell. So I believe that like a lot of the male features are triggered by testosterone, which is a direct change in the cell. So like me growing facial hair, that would be like testosterone coming in here and like saying, hey, grow hair because you're a guy. Let's see. So then it, transforms into mRNA. So remember the central dogma of biology. DNA makes RNA, which makes proteins. And then this has the effect of the cell. So there's also one more class of hormones, and this is tyrosine derivatives. They're kind of in their own group, and I really didn't know about them until I started researching this lesson. So they're actually derived from a single tyrosine molecule, and that's an amino acid, and that's what it looks like right here. And some of the functions, and some function like a steroidal or a non-steroidal hormone, so it just depends on what kind they are, but they're really small. And a lot of hormones are pretty small, but this one is also very small. So you remember T3 and T4 hormones from the thyroid? Those ones are tyrosine derivatives. And they help with metabolism. And sometimes they can also play different roles in the cell. So sometimes they'll act like a protein, sometimes they'll act some other functions that aren't necessarily hormones. So they're kind of a weird mix of the two, but at the same time, not really at all like them. All right, and that is all for the lesson. I hope you have a wonderful day. Make sure to look at that assignment on Google Classroom for this lesson. All right, we'll see you maybe Monday. Oh yeah, if you have any questions about this, just let us know at the Google Classroom meeting on Monday. That'll be awesome. See ya.